Hello, I'm Jeff Cullers, the creator and owner of GemStateFishing.com and the Idaho Fishing Report. Before we start our show, I wanted to apologize that we haven't been as consistent with our weekly podcast. We took on a gig a couple of months ago that was a little bit more encompassing than what we thought it would be. And because of that, we've missed a couple of shows here or there. Well, I'm here to tell you that that ends this week. We are back at it with our weekly podcast, including our daily peak fishing times. So, thank you to our faithful viewer for sticking around and understanding and giving us one more shot. Now, here's our show.
Welcome to the Idaho Fishing Report. Whether you are planning just a couple of hours or a full weekend of fishing, this is your one-stop place for all the information you need to plan your trip. It's all right here, from weather forecasts and reservoir levels to the latest stocking reports and expert advice. And now, the host of Idaho Fishing Report, Jeff Cullers.
Welcome, angler. I am Jeff Cullers, and I am happy to be here with you once again for the Idaho Fishing Report for the week of June 9th, 2023. All right, got a great show for you today. Yes, I know we've been away for a while, but we're back. That's what I'm saying. We're back and excited to be here. We have your forecast as we roll into the weekend before Father's Day. I think we're going to get the bad weather out of the way now. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. We got stocking report, reservoir levels, boat ramp information. We got it all. And George Rodriguez is back with his Tight Lines 208 hot tip of the week. So what do you say we roll right into our updates for the weather? Hey, before we get into that, want to remind you that you need to gohorseman.com. Go to gohorseman.com. They are in the championships. They're going to be playing for the regional championships. They're going to play for it all, going to get that ring. They're going to be hosting this July 1st. GoHorseman.com to find out more about ticket information and make sure you support our friends out there at GoHorseman.com. All right, let's look at that regional update. And we are going to start over in the Magic Valley. And over there, the sunset will be around 9:14 p.m. On Friday, we're going to see about 74 degrees with some afternoon thunderstorms. Yeah, I know. We've seen those thunderstorms. I think we're about sick of them, but they're going to stick around through through Friday. Now, over the weekend, it's going to get nice. Highs in the upper 70s, lower 80s, only partly cloudy. 16% chance of rain on Saturday, 24% chance of rain on Sunday. Winds are pretty calm, 8 to 11 miles an hour. Now, the first part of next week, we're going to see the temperatures drop, and we're going to see those thunderstorms come back in. 57% chance of rain on Tuesday, partly cloudy the rest of the week, highs in the upper 70s. All right, let's look at the Treasure Valley, starting over in the Mountain Home Bruno area. Sunset there will be around 9:20 p.m. Let's see the same thing there, highs in the mid 70s. Afternoon thunderstorms, about a 45% chance of rain. Saturday and Sunday look pretty nice, partly cloudy, highs in the low 80s. Winds about 10 miles an hour. There's still a little bit chance of a rain, so just be mindful of that. First part of the week, we're going to see some morning showers. There's double-digit chances of rain most of the first part of the week. Highs in the lower 80s over in the Mountain Home area. All right, let's look back over here at the Boise area, and sunset there will be around 9:25 p.m. Same thing, we're going to see scattered thunderstorms on Friday, 77 degrees, low to mid 80s over the weekend, winds about 9 miles an hour, still double-digit chance of rain, 20% on Saturday, 15% on Sunday. Monday, we're going to see those afternoon thunderstorms over in the Boise area. And the rest of the week doesn't look too bad, though, after Monday. Only partly cloudy, highs in the lower 80s. So that's comfortable. I can live with that. Not going to be too bad. All right. What about taking a trip up that double nickel to Cascade? There's that Cascade slide now. It came in a little early there before. All right. Sunset there is going to be around 9:27 p.m. Highs in the mid to upper 60s over the weekend, might eke into the 70s. Here's the bad news, though: thunderstorms all weekend long. It's just going to be miserable up there. 58 to 67% chance of rain. The rain kind of goes away on Wednesday. We'll see only a 23% chance of rain. Thursday of next week, with the early forecast, looks to be about your best right now, as it's going to be sunny and high of 68. Winds are never too bad up that way, and that continues here for that weekend as well. All right, let's head over to the Snake River Reservoir area. Sunset there will be around 9:33 p.m. Mountain Time. Highs in the mid 70s on Friday. Thunderstorms on Friday, 79%, 50% chance of rain on Saturday, and thunderstorms, 24% chance of rain on Sunday. The temperatures are going to stay in the mid to lower 80s all the way through Thursday. Rain is going to continue through Tuesday. Your best bet for dodging raindrops will be coming on Wednesday and Thursday, mostly sunny. Looks pretty nice, only a 9% chance of rain over in that area. And that is going to be your regional update for weather and wind. All right, it is time once again for that Tight Lines 208 hot tip of the week. And joining us, as he does each and every show, Jordan Rodriguez, owner and creator of Tight Lines 208. Jordan, it's been a while, my friend. How are you?
I'm doing great, man. How's it going?
It's going well. Good to be back at it again. Talked about it a little bit at the beginning of the show with the viewers. We've had to take a couple of weeks off, but we're back at it on a weekly basis here for the rest of the summer and fall, and I'm excited. And hopefully you've had a chance to get out and do some fishing yourself.
A little bit, yeah, yes, sir. Always, whenever I get the chance.
I love it. I love it. Well, what is that Tight Lines 208 hot tip of the week?
Well, I'm going to base this week's hot tip on a column that I just wrote that just published this week in the Statesman, and the title of that column was called "Fish Are Mean," which is it's just kind of based on the idea for the column came from, I just found myself in classes or talking with buddies and stuff, and you'd say, "Oh, what'd you catch those fish on?" And you'd tell them, and they're like, "You were using those for that?" And I said, "Yeah, they're mean." So the idea behind it is, I think that fish are more aggressive, or mean being the funny term that I was using, than maybe we like to give them credit for. So obviously, some fish we know are predatory and they have that reputation. Things like bass and tiger muskie and kind of the big beefy predators. And
Sure.
there's really no doubt when you look at a fish like that of what their feeding behavior is like. But when you drill down into some of the other species, trout is one. In my trout classes, I get a lot of raised eyebrows and people really surprised by, I think trout have kind of a reputation as like, oh, they're these kind of gentle bug sipping creatures. And you catch them on dry flies and it's very graceful. And certainly they will eat flies, but I'll tell you, when trout get to be about a foot long, and from there on up, they are very predatory on smaller fish, all kinds of, whatever types of fish they share habitat with. They'll eat mice, they'll eat crayfish, they will eat just about anything that fits in their mouth. And that's really like the calculus for a lot of these fish is like, if it will fit, they will try it. And sometimes even if it doesn't fit, they're going to try it.
Yeah.
So panfish is another one. I think that's probably where I get like the most surprised folks is if I'm talking, panfish, whether it's crappie or perch, those two in particular, because they do have a fairly large mouth capacity for their size. To catch the big ones, honestly, like I do a lot of either trolling or casting with fairly large crankbaits and plugs and swim baits and things that a lot of people just wouldn't necessarily think, oh, that's a panfish lure. They think a panfish lure has to be a micro jig or, something very small and finesse, or else just like a live night crawler or something like that. So, um, one of the upsides of catching them on the bigger lures, you may not catch as many at times, although sometimes they are the preferred thing. But it kind of filters out what I call the riffraff. You're not catching the
Sure.
6 and 7 inchers. You're getting the good, 10, 11, 12 plus inch panfish. Talk about a place like Cascade. Well, how do you get those jumbos? So I was like, well, one of the ways I fish for jumbos is I troll with big plugs, and you're just not going to catch a lot of 5-inch dink perch on that. When that pole starts shaking, it's going to be 12, 13, 14-inch perch, and that's what we're looking for. So just a good kind of frame of mind, or a good thing to keep in what I like to call the knowledge tackle box, is these fish are predatory, and when they reach a certain size, a lot of that diet is fish. These are wild animals that are doing the constant survival calculus, in their little animal brains of, eating one big juicy fish is worth a lot more than, you'd have to eat how many hundred little bugs, or, how many dozen hard to digest snails, or whatever it is. So the bigger the fish, the more likely it is that they're eating smaller fish, and, you can up your lures, up your aggressiveness as an angler, to kind of take advantage of the fish's aggression.
So I'm not surprised with the panfish growing up in the South. That doesn't surprise me. Being newer to the Pacific Northwest, the trout does, because I guess I've been one of those that's always kind of had that mindset that trout is this gentle fish that you catch, and you don't have that aggression. But it's funny, as you were talking, we've got a slideshow of some of the fish pictures you've sent me over the years, and there was a monster trout on there, and I can only imagine how aggressive that was. Do you find that, so like, and I know we've talked a lot about the whopper ploppers as one of my favorite to go bass fishing with, and I feel like that's one of those that just pisses the bass right off, because I've seen some of the most aggressive hits on that than I have other things. Are there different lures that you think that draws that, or different presentation that draws that, like this top water on a bass?
Yeah, I mean, top water is something that I really only throw for bass, and maybe like a big predator species like a pike or a muskie. I don't throw a lot of like top water things for trout, unless you were to count, say a dry fly as a top water lure.
Sure.
Yeah, it's just, for me, getting their attention, right? Like, what gets their attention? What makes it worth the effort? Because it takes effort to chase down a meal, right? So what is the thing that when they see it, they're like, okay, I'm definitely going to go grab that, because it's a nice easy meal. It's a nice big meal. It's the math works. I want to eat that. So one of the things specific to trout as well, and bass, honestly, is what we call the follow up fishing.
Yep.
So is to start, in a river with trout fishing. This is particularly true because you're kind of doing a run of the river. So I will almost always start, and I'll have two rods with me. I will start with some kind of minnow presentation, like a Rapala, something big. And I'm specifically targeting what is the meanest, biggest, nastiest fish in this stretch of river, and hoping that they get eyes on that Rapala. And so I'll throw that for a while and see what happens. And a lot of times you wind up catching a fish, and a lot of times it winds up being the bigger of the fish you get out of that hole. And then you can follow up with other presentations, something more subtle, a jig, live bait, drift a fly, a spinner, whatever, and kind of pick up other fish that are in a more neutral mode, or maybe not as aggressive.
Sure.
And the same holds true for bass. If you're running that whopper plopper and you just get a few to smash it, apart from a few kind of magical days, the topwater bite doesn't usually sustain as like something you can just ride for the entire trip. But if you're getting fish on it, there's fish in the area, they're on a feed. So I would just stay put and throw, go to some kind of soft plastic and something that's going to go subsurface. And you're just likely to catch fish that are in a different mood at the time. But, the more aggressive ones, which again can oftentimes be the bigger fish, they might just be the one that comes up and snaps that topwater lure.
For sure, for sure. All right, great information. I love it. And get out there and get some of those aggressive fish. They sure are a heck of a lot more fun when they hit. That's for darn sure. Versus, I know you and I have talked about trolling for crappie, and while it hauls in a plentiful bounty, there's not much aggression or fight to it when you get some of these other aggressive fish. That's for sure.
Well, that's a little bonus thing there, that as far as just like the fun and the excitement factor for the angler is, when you think about if you're fishing with live bait or, a lot of flies or just anything that's kind of either stationary or like drifting through current, the action of that fish eating whatever your presentation is pretty subtle, right? They're like, oh, there's some food, and they put it in their mouth.
Right.
And you know what it feels like, but it's not the same. When it's a retrieve lure, when it's something that's meant to mimic something that is both alive and theoretically could get away, they come in with real bad intentions because they don't just have to open their mouth and put it in. They have to kill or seriously injure this thing so that they can then, eat it. So the hit that you get off of these, more aggressive minnow type lures is always a lot more fun. They'll yank the rod right out of your hands if you're not ready for it.
Absolutely, absolutely. All right, so Tight Lines 208 it is a great place to go. You can sign up for classes. You can also sign up for personal instruction as well. Anything exciting coming up, Jordan?
We got a lot exciting coming up, Jeff. Remind me, when is this show going to run?
This will air tomorrow, 6/9, so June 9th.
Okay, so we have got two things on the radar. One is a sturgeon class, which is happening next week. That's on June 13th and 15th. It's a 2-night event. It's a special class. I only do it every other year, so this is an on year for the sturgeon class. Tuesday night, 6 to 8 p.m. at Idaho Rod and Reel. We're going to get together. We're going to do our usual thing. There'll be a lot of great information, everything you could possibly want to know about catching these giant wild sturgeon that we have in the Snake River and a few other places across southern Idaho. That's all happening Tuesday. Thursday night, we're going to a private lake out in Parma, and we're going to fish for sturgeon. It's fishing, of course, so I can't say that it's guaranteed, but the odds are extremely high that the students will get to catch, fight, handle at least a couple sturgeon. Oftentimes it's a lot of sturgeon. The catch rates tend to be pretty good. So it's not quite the same as catching them in the river, of course, but it gives you a great feel for what it's like. It's a great educational tool to handle these fish, get in the water with the fish, see what they're all about. A lot of people have, even avid anglers have never really done sturgeon. It's something that you need special gear for, and it can be a little intimidating. So we're going to knock down all those barriers, give you all the information and knowledge you need to go catch them. And then we're going to go do a night of fishing as well. So it's Tuesday, Thursday. All the details are on the website. I have just a few spots left in that. So we would love to see a couple listeners join up. And that's coming up next week. So, and then today, in fact, we just announced our next upcoming class, which will be happening in July. I'm sure we'll talk about it on the show between now and then, so I won't go too far into detail now, but it's a brand new class. It's called Fishing Fun for Kids. And so it's all focused around children and introducing them to kind of the magic of fishing and the outdoors. And each admission to that class includes the child and also a parent or adult chaperone, so that you can come and there's kind of, tips and information for the parents as well, so that it's all kind of a package deal that you're learning together and having a fun experience together. So that'll be on July 18th. and we'll talk more about that as we get closer.
Absolutely. Well, both of those sound like a lot of fun, especially the sturgeon. And I'm one of those anglers that never had that chance to do it, and it's certainly on the radar. And I love the one for the kids. I think that's the next generation of anglers, and I love teaching them the right way. So I love that a lot. All right. Well, he is Jordan Rodriguez. He is the owner and creator of Tight Lines 208, and he joins us here each and every week and gives us for free his hot tip of the week. But make sure you visit him at tightlines208.com. Jordan, thanks for joining us, and we'll talk to you again next week.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, Jeff.
Thank you. Do you want to be part of the show? Email us with questions or your fishing report from your last trip. Email general questions to gemstatefishing208@gmail.com. Fish pictures sent to myfish@gemstatefishing.com. And viewer questions to questions@gemstatefishing.com. All right. Yes, please do email us. Love to hear from the listeners. All right, let's look at that reservoir level and boat ramp information. We will start over in the Magic Valley, of course, as we always do. And over at Lake Walcott, sitting at 94% full, and the elevation is 4244. The boat ramp is open. Littlewood is sitting at 94% full with an elevation of 5234. The Littlewood boat ramp is open. Milner is sitting at 73% full. No boat ramp information is available there. All right, let's slip into that Treasure Valley. CJ Strike, 100% with a 54-foot gauge height. Anderson Ranch is sitting at 95% full with an elevation of 4183. All boat ramps are open. The Arrow Rock Reservoir is at 90% full with an elevation of 3165. Both the high and low ramp are open. Lucky Peak is at 98% full with an elevation of 3010. And for the first time for the Idaho Fishing Report anyway, all ramps are open at Lucky Peak. Lake Lowell is sitting at 81% full, and it has an elevation of 4820. All ramps are open. Deadwood is sitting at 94% full with an elevation of 5316. The Cozy Cove boat ramp is open. Man Creek is sitting at 99% full with an elevation of 2872. Both ramps are open. I think I skipped Lake Lowell. We'll go back to that real quick in the Treasure Valley. 81% full with an elevation of 2527. All ramps are open. All right, how about those Snake River Reservoir areas? All right, over in the Idaho side, both boat ramps are open. The Brownlee water level reservoir is at 2069, and all of those ramps are open. And you will find that the Woodhead boat ramp has 50 usable feet of water at it, which is outstanding. Steck Park has 21 feet of usable ramp at the bottom. So that is going to be your report for the reservoir levels and boat ramp information. Make sure you visit us at gemsafefishing.com for all the links to all the information we provide here. You can also contact us through the site. Oh, yeah, would love to see you contact us there through that website. All right, let's look at some Idaho fishing or the Idaho fishing game information here for you, and we'll get some of that for you going right now. First of all, let's look at stocking. We got quite a bit of stocking that's happening right now over in the in that area in Magic Valley, Gavers Lagoon. Through this week, 1,425 will be fish will be stocked. In the Southwest region, Little Payette Lake is getting 5,000. That's the most of any in the area this week. Rollins Pond is getting 1,500. Sage Hen Reservoir is getting 2,400. And the South Fork of the Payette is getting 1,750 fish stocked this week. All right, as far as tournaments go, None. There's none this weekend in the Southwest or the Magic Valley. I think that has to do with the fact that it is free fishing on Saturday, June the 10th. That's right, my friends. It's free fishing. So it might be a good day to do something else. It's going to be miserable anyway. I really hate it for Idaho Fish and Game with the free fishing because I know they want to get a good turnout and get some people in there fishing that never fished before. But, yeah, unfortunately for them, it's just not going to happen this weekend, I think. But free fishing, no tournament happening this weekend. Hey, you can find us on every social media platform from Facebook groups, Twitter, or Instagram. Our handle at Idaho_report. All right, let's look at that moon phase here as we are getting in towards the middle of the month for the southern region of Idaho. All right, last quarter is on June 10th, so that's Saturday. The new moon is on May the 18th. Perigee will happen on June the 6th, and apogee will happen on June 22nd. It's been a while, so let's revisit that. The moon's orbit around the Earth is not round but elliptical. At the most distant point, apogee, it's about 252,000 miles away. At its closest point, perigee, the moon is about 233,000 miles distant. Now, some theorists feel that the moon's greater gravitational pull, as much as 20% stronger during perigee, means the lunar peaks at this time create even better fishing potential. When the moon is closest, it's also called supermoon due to its additional influence on the tides. All right, so we're going to be seeing fewer peak times with the last quarter occurring over the weekend. One strong good peak will be at 7 a.m. on Friday morning, and by Sunday that peak moves to 9 a.m. We'll see the same in the evening, but a softer peak, so 7 p.m. on Friday, 9 p.m. on Sunday. As we get into the first part of next week, that peak weakens as it moves to 10 p.m. on Monday. 10 a.m. and 10 p.m. on Monday. And by Thursday, we're going to see that peak around 1 p.m. Now, here's the good news. That peak, that morning and that afternoon peak, the evening peak, that's going to get actually stronger as the week goes along. So I'm pretty excited about that. So, and that is going to be your moon phase report. All right. Well, that music means only one thing. That means it is time for my grade. I got some bad news for you. Our first show back in a couple of weeks, and I'm afraid it's going to be a D. It's almost an F. It really is almost an F over the weekend, just with the bad weather on Friday and Saturday in some spots. But I'm going to give it a D because I think there's a couple opportunities to get in there, get out and dodge some raindrops over the weekend. Maybe a C up to Sunday. But just with the last quarter happening over the weekend, with the wind and the thunderstorms and the rain, I just don't think it's going to be a great weekend to be out fishing. Saturday, it's free fishing, and we know it always gets crazy there. So I think that is probably going to make it a D for this weekend. I'm sorry to say that. So, all right, but that is my grade for the weekend of June 9th, 2023. Well, my friends, that is going to bring to end another episode of the Idaho Fishing Report. I appreciate you joining us here. It's been a great show. We've had a chance to kind of understand the weather, what that's going to look like for this weekend. It's not going to be great. It is a free fish in Idaho, so if you've never gotten out or you know someone that's never gotten out and you think they might be interested, make sure you give them some information about that. They can find it through Fish and Game. All of that information is available there. And thanks for Jordan coming on, talking about those old mean fish or those aggressive hitting fish. They're a lot of fun, especially when you catch those. But it's been a really good show, and I'm glad that you're here with us. Again, apologize that we've had to take a couple of weeks off here, but we're back. We're back in the saddle again, Idaho. We're ready to get back here and do some fishing. We'll get through this weekend. Father's Day is next weekend. Hopefully I'll have a special show for you next weekend as well. And just really enjoy you coming along and being a part of what we do. and just thank you all for everything. So for the Idaho Fishing Report and Gem State Fishing, I'm Jeff Cullers. I'll see you on the water. We would like to thank you for listening to the Idaho Fishing Report. You can find us at gemstatefishing.com. Also, connect with us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. You can also find us on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe and give us a like. Thanks to our sponsors, guests, and experts, but especially you, our listener, for making this show possible. This has been a Good Boy Studios production in association with OMS Multimedia, LLC. Join us next week for another episode of the Idaho Fishing Report. This show is the property of Old Man Studios, LLC, and may not be reproduced, rebroadcast, or retransmitted without the express written consent of Old Man Studios, LLC.